Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome to my bedroom. I'm Kirsty, a somatic sex coach and intuitive body worker. Today I'm going to be talking about forgiveness because I used to hate that saying that if you don't forgive someone, it's like drinking poison, expecting them to die. I mean, I totally understood it because I could feel the heaviness and the resentment of unforgiveness in my body. But that saying told me nothing about how to forgive. It only left me feeling like a failure. So I'm going to share my experience of forgiving my mom, what inspired me to forgive her and what my process was like and how I handle it now when resentment comes back up in my mind and in my body, tempting me to replay and ruminate over the things that hurt me from the past. So first, my rant. Okay, I'm going to kind of list off a bunch of reasons why I used to hate my mom. And trigger warning, there might be some uncomfortable information in here. My parents divorced when I was 4 years old. And then after that, my mom just kind of started partying a lot. She was an alcoholic. And when I was in third grade, she moved us in with one of her boyfriends that was also an alcoholic. I didn't even really know him before that point. I grew up around a lot of drunks and a lot of men who were inappropriate toward me. At that time, my mom was choosing the bar over going to parent-teacher conferences or coming to see me at my cheerleading games. She never visited me in college. And when I went through my first divorce, she actually wrote an apology letter to my ex's family instead of supporting me. My mom also didn't know how to say no to men. She modeled how to comply and bypass. When she had an opinion, she might say it, and then she would backpedal to make her boyfriend comfortable. She allowed men to ignore her and put off important conversations. So I learned to perform to be liked. I learned that my true feelings were exactly what needed to be shut down and ignored so that people would like me. And in fact, when my body started to feel like it was coming up with an idea or an opinion of my own, I would quickly and unconsciously respond in one of two ways. I would rebel. I'd hype myself up so much, like any thought of mine had to be projected loudly and it had to be heard like heavy metal teenage angst to the world. Or I would start self-rejection and self-criticism, like, who am I to speak up? Others know so much more than I do. If I speak up, I'm going to get rejected or ignored. So what's the point? And my struggle with that all confirmed for me that it was my mom's fault because she was my only caregiver and she neglected me. She taught me to bypass and comply and drink to avoid and to hide. I felt worthless. I was a walking apology. Sorry to anyone who had to put up with me. Sorry for my presence. And it was much easier to blame her and say that it was her fault, that I was insecure and didn't know what to do about it. And then I went through a second divorce. I was married for 18 years. And after my ex and I separated, I decided that I would try ketamine-assisted therapy to stop whatever cycle I was perpetuating by continuously choosing relationships with avoidant people and finally heal my inner child. And I knew that this meant forgiving my mom because I still was trying to do that. At this point, I had done so much therapy, couples counseling, was on anti-anxiety medication. And for years, I even prayed about forgiving her. I tried talking to her. I had moments of reprieve where I felt like some kind of peace or closure. But the ruminating thoughts of hating her and blaming her always seemed to come back. And I desperately wanted to stop carrying this hatred toward her. I could feel the weight of it. I could feel the poison and the resentment and how heavy it was on me, but I just didn't know how to let go. And so I did my first ketamine session, and that story is for another video, and I will make that. I'll say that during the session, nothing spoke directly to my mom. She wasn't really part of that session. But still, something shifted within me after that session. I'd separated from my ex. I was in my new condo, decorating my new bedroom, and the resentment toward my mom came up again. I was thinking these vile things in my mom about my mom. At this point, she'd already been dead for 10 years, which only made it easier for me to scream at her in my mind, because what I thought was, if we are still connected at all after death, then she couldn't escape my judgment. I thought, if there's an afterlife, she would absolutely have to suffer the truth. She couldn't look away like she did when she was alive. She couldn't get drunk. She couldn't escape the wrath I was putting out into the ethers. She would be forced to sit and listen and take her medicine, and I would keep doing this until I felt some sort of cosmic apology. But rather than hearing nothing this time or feel her agony, I witnessed the words that I was saying in my mind. And here's a little trigger warning, because here's what I was saying. Fuck you. I fucking hate you. This is your fault. It's your fault that I'm divorced. It's your fault that I still have self-hatred. It's your fault that I'm so uncomfortable in my own body and my life is a failure. And on and on and on. And I was saying these words with as much venom or poison as I could spit at her, totally embodying the hate, sending it into every cell of my body. And I started witnessing that every cell in my body was feeling it. It wasn't my mom that was feeling it. It was me. I was engrossed in hate, completely immersed in it, filling my body with toxicity. And that's when I finally understood what that stupid saying meant. The thoughts and feelings and words I was thinking were filling my own body and my own cells with this poison. And I realized the only one who was feeling that angry hatred was me. And I realized that I could flip the entire script if I wanted to. I could keep hating her. And honestly, I felt like I had it. I felt like I could keep hating her because it was justified. Because what kid can't blame their parents for neglecting them if they were an alcoholic, right? But if I did, I'd only be cycling this hate, choosing hate to fill my own body. And if I wanted so badly to quit hating myself, if it mattered what words were floating around in here, I wanted to feel love inside of me. That's all I'd ever wanted. I wanted to hear loving words inside of me, words that nourished and held me and made me feel seen. I mean, I had already started recognizing when I was speaking negatively to myself, like self-critical thoughts, and how that was not only painful but counterproductive. But I didn't see the connection between how I spoke about other people and how the resonance of those words radiated and affected my own cells in my own body. Don't get me wrong, this is not a campaign about anti-negative emotions. Hate has its own kind of charge. Rage is sacred. Grief and sadness and disgust, irritation, they are all sacred. And honestly, it's a fine line for me between hate and ecstasy. But it's one thing to feel hate or uncomfortable emotions with intentionality and with reverence, to move with and through those emotions, and a totally different thing to simply feel those feelings and feed off of them with an intent to harm someone else or ourselves. So I started practicing flipping the script. This is the part that was like magic for me. Every time I would think of my mom and I would start to hear that rant inside, I would acknowledge that I am responding to pain. And then I would start speaking to myself with all of the things that I needed to hear. Kirsty, I love you. You must be feeling unseen or unheard right now. Or maybe you feel like you're having to perform for approval and are afraid of rejection. I am here for you. I will never leave you. You are so beautiful and so valuable. I love you. And then I started saying, thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom. You are teaching me how to speak lovingly to myself. I wouldn't have learned this without you. Thank you, Kirsty. You are so precious and amazing and loving. And I love how you're showing up for yourself right now. And thank you, Mom. You are still teaching me. And once I started practicing all of this, all of these cool things started shifting. Like now, it's really weird to share with you all of the ways that I used to think about my mom, because now I can totally see the ways that she did show up for me. I can see that she did her very best with what she had. She did come to my plays in college, and she would take me shopping sometimes, especially in college when I didn't have a lot of cash. She would come over and cook yummy dinners with me after my first child was born. She would listen to me every time I called her, confused and afraid. She sometimes, when I was growing up, helped me with my homework. And I remember one time she helped me with this super cool science fair project in 5th grade. She made sure that I had food growing up. And yes, there were times when I was definitely neglected. But she loved me so much. And I can admit that now. I can see that she was a single mom in an age when women were expected to have a man take care of them. I mean, today I am benefiting from all of those women who fought to make sure that I can open a bank account without a man or own my own property. And my mom was conditioned by a narrative that said that women were property who had to appease men to survive. And because of her, now I'm also digging into all the layers within me that have kept me fearing men, appeasing men, making myself agreeable and likable. I've also learned to have compassion for men who have learned to subtly treat women with disdain because they were also taught that it was expected women to behave a certain way. And look, there's so much to unpack there, and I can get into that another time. But for now, my main point is that I finally understood what it meant, that forgiveness was like drinking poison and hoping the other person died. Not only did I understand it, I felt it. And then I was able to transmute it into loving myself and even thank the person I couldn't forgive for how it was making me stronger and a more loving person toward myself and giving myself all that I needed that she couldn't give me. And so here's my invitation to you. The next time you find yourself speaking hatefully about someone, I mean, honestly, this can be somebody that you've had a resentment for, or it could just be criticism of somebody that you see on the street. Anytime you start ruminating about negative thoughts or blaming them for your problems, just pause. Put a hand on your heart and first of all, name what you're feeling. Perhaps it's rage or anger, grief or sadness, resentment. Acknowledge that your feelings are sacred. They are showing you a deep and truthful pain within that deserves to be witnessed and held and healed. And then if you want to, you can do some emotional release exercises. I've done a video on that, which I will link in the description below. Emotional release is a sacred ritual to help you unlock and release all of those blocked emotions in the body. Once you've done those amazing emotional release rituals, you can place a hand on your heart again and just say to yourself, I love you. I honor your rage. I honor your pain. You matter to me. I am sorry for the pain that you've felt. And I love you. And think about other words that this wounded part of you needs to hear in this moment. Maybe it's, you are so special. You are valuable. I think you're really funny and really smart and beautiful and kind, and you're an amazing chef. You're a prophetic writer. You're a majestic dancer. And as you speak lovingly to yourself, begin touching your body, stroking your face, or your arms or your heart space. Feel this gentle touch until you feel your nervous system slow down and regulate, which feels like an exhale, like your shoulders are relaxing a lot, your belly is softening, and you can just breathe. And if you want, you can end the exercise there, just loving yourself. If you'd like to explore just a little bit more, you could just be curious about what it might feel like to thank the person that you're nurturing yourself, protecting yourself from. Just say thank you to that person for doing something in your life that is teaching you to care for and love yourself. I'm learning to love myself in the ways that you couldn't. I'm learning to nurture myself, and my capacity to love myself is growing. Not because you wounded me, but because I am brave enough to love myself instead of feeling hatred. This is Alchemy, and my beautiful friend, you are fucking magical. Please let me know if this helped or what it might have brought up for you if you give this a try. I'd love to hear in the comments below. Thank you. Mwah.